Facebook might make its own currency soon, right?
Right. Yeah, the digital dollar. I want to
Like the
talk to you about
idea
that
of
too.
money is just like another thing that governments offer people currencies, right? Um, like Facebook's at a different stage, right? And so is Google and Apple and a lot of these companies. They're really at this uh, I would say it's almost like a nation state like level of influence over the world, where more so than the money that these companies have, it's the power they have, right? The actual literal power that they have, that is worth more than all the money they could make.
Yeah, well, speaking of making money, I mean, you talk about Facebook jokingly making their own currency, but like that's a very real thing now that Meta has
Oh yeah,
rebranded, and then they're talking about making the metaverse, and that's I'm a big
oh yeah.
cryptocurrency nerd. I don't know how into crypto you are, but if
Oh,
you keep
I
up with
know about it. I mean,
how can you
I
not?
can
That's
tell
like
you
that's
my
right up your
thoughts.
alley, right? Like I mean, it has to be. So when you were at Facebook, I mean, that was several years ago. There probably was there any talk about like how focused was Facebook on like VR, augmented reality, AI, and things like the metaverse, or was that not really a
Well,
conversation yet?
well, it was like 10,000, 13,000 people at the time at the company. So it had grown to a sizable amount, but it was much smaller than it is today. And even then, there were multiple avenues to be able to build different things or focus on different things. I think Zuckerberg liked to focus on one thing at a time, in terms of like his efforts to, or maybe not one thing, but a couple of things. So he'll pull certain people in when he's trying to solve particular problems. I happen to be there with the Snapchat stuff, but there was also the AR stuff, right? Like Oculus had been acquired, WhatsApp had just been acquired at that point too, and there were a couple of areas like that he was also very interested in. And I think like the company as a whole didn't have like just one thing that they were trying to solve. I will say though, like VR and AR at that point were like one step removed from where they are today. So back then, the goal was to turn Facebook from a text web desktop based like product into a mobile first, camera first, production and consumption world, right? So it was almost like, let's grab the text box where you put what you're up to and turn it into a camera with effects and AR, masks and all that kind of stuff. And that was the big push to kind of combat Snapchat and also like grow into what Instagram was slowly becoming as well within the company. So that big shift was like this camera first world that Facebook went into. That was the primary focus for a while. I think they looked at that as like a stepping stone towards VR and AR, right? So I think the ultimate goal of becoming this like metaverse stuff has always been in the back of the minds of most of the folks at Facebook. That's not like a new thing. It's just like strategically it made sense to go slowly into the space using the devices that everyone has on hand, right? Like you're not gonna try and like build a product in VR if nobody has a VR headset or if the headsets aren't good enough yet, right? So they use the phone as like a way to understand users more and build up to eventually making some type of VR thing once people have headsets.